Oh, they're doing bad, Ray. They're doing bad. So Stellantis is taking more heat from
Yes.
dealers, the UAW. I want to add to this list just their C-suite. They're taking heat from their shareholders. Who else? From consumers.
Suppliers.
Are they doing anything right now?
Not according to anybody that has any interest in Stellantis. No, they're not. You know, it takes special people to alienate everybody that you come in contact with, and that's what they're doing at the moment. And it's kind of unfortunate. It's really unfortunate when you've managed to really piss off your dealer partners, the ones that ultimately are in charge of moving the metal. But you've pissed off labor, dealers, suppliers, shareholders. Who's left? Somebody that's lived in a cave? I mean, who's going to buy this stuff, and who's going to feel good about it?
So here's the problem too. Like their dealers, that's literally their customers. You and me, even if we want to buy a Jeep, if we want to go buy a brand new Jeep, we're not buying it directly from Stellantis.
Exactly.
We're buying it from a dealer. So Stellantis really shouldn't. I mean, at the end of the day, the dealers got to move, but they shouldn't care about us at all, but they should care so much about their dealers that are actually taking these allocations, because the only way these manufacturers are able to make money in the US is if their dealers actually take their cars. So they can't have this sour relationship between their dealer groups and the manufacturer to be able to still survive in business here in the US. And this is where I see a lot of problems, because if the dealers need help moving metal, if they're crying to Stellantis to be able to help them in some capacity, and Stellantis feels like they're just turning their backs on them, I mean, that's not going to be good if they want to get more franchises. I know that there are a lot of Jeep, Dodge, Ram franchisees that are trying to get rid of their actual franchises right now. And if you don't have dealers that want to have Jeep, Dodge, Ram franchises, then you're not going to have a business in the US.
It's not as if Stellantis can turn to the American consumer and say, you want that Jeep? We'll sell it to you directly. They can't do that. Okay. They can only sell it to their franchise dealers. That's the way it works. And so for them to really aggravate their only customers to the point where they are turning down allocations, it's mind-blowing to me. They can only unload their product to their dealers. And the dealers aren't going to take more product if they have no room for it. And so the dealers have to find customers like you and I to come in and buy this stuff. And the manufacturer typically in the past has always worked well with their dealers in order to come up with incentives for customers to actually buy this stuff. And Stellantis has been dragging their feet when it comes to this. So if their customers can't unload their inventory to someone like you and I, then their customers can't buy more of the stuff that Stellantis is producing. By not helping their dealer body, they have stopped their ability to produce and sell vehicles, because ultimately their dealer is their customer.
So, and here's the problem too, when they piss off the dealers because the dealers can't sell cars, well, their prices are too high. So that's going to piss off the consumers, and then consumers aren't going to buy those. And in that case, then production has to get cut, in which case that's going to piss off the UAW, and then profits are going to fall. We're already seeing it in earnings, and that pisses off the shareholders. So it all starts at the beginning of actually moving metal. And if you're going the different route of actually trying to sell cars to consumers, then that's just where it all starts, right?
Yeah, but they don't have the ability to be able to sell cars directly to consumers. And for the most part, other than like Lucid or Tesla or Rivian, most of these manufacturers really don't want to be direct to consumer people. They don't really want to be in that business.
And I wasn't trying to go that way. I'm saying that they were creating an environment where it's very difficult for their dealers to be able to sell to consumers because their prices are just they're just out of whack, and their offerings are not what the consumers actually want to buy.
Yes, yeah. If what you're suggesting was that they were subscribing to the theory that if we build it, the consumers will come,
Right.
they were dead wrong when it came to some of their high price stuff that they've saddled their dealer partners with. I've discussed this with my son on some of our stuff. They have abandoned their dealers' customers. Okay, their customer base for most Stellantis products was lower price points, quality, somewhat good quality, lower price points, lower entry points, and that was their customer base. Their customer base wasn't suddenly clamoring for $120,000 Grand Wagoneer. Okay, their customer base wasn't clamoring for $90,000 pickup trucks. Their customer base was clamoring for vehicles in the $25,000 to $45,000 price ranges. And they abandoned those people. I mean, literally just abandoned them. And then they wonder why their dealers are having such a hard time moving the product that they're supplying their dealers with. Well, if you've abandoned the customers that your dealers have nurtured all this time, what are those customers supposed to buy when it's time to replace their current Stellantis product?
Yeah, and in a company like this, it starts from the top down, right? So now we just got this news saying, okay, they are starting their transition period. I can't remember the wording, but their CEO basically they're not going to have him renew his contract. They're looking for the successor for him, and he is still there until the beginning of 2026. So we've got a year and a half left. But really, I mean, if you have somebody else come in, if it's a year and a half, if he lasts to the end of his contract, it seems like that's almost too long.
Well, you probably could have made the argument a year and a half ago that to wait as long as they've waited, it's already been too long. It is not as if the slowdown in sales and the loss of market share hasn't been evident for the past 18 to 24 months. Jeep sales have gone down every year for, I believe, the last 5 years. So it's been readily apparent. It's just that they didn't want to bother to actually utilize the information that they had in front of them. And so if the question is, can they afford to continue to move forward with the executive team that they have at the highest levels of that organization? One would suspect that they probably cannot. If the board says, but we will, then it begs the question of really what's Stellantis going to look like a year and a half from now?
Well, we've already had a big turnover in at least the U.S. executives, both firing and leaving. I would assume we'll see a lot more executives jump ship as the ship continues to go down because they don't want this on their resume.
No, it doesn't look good on your resume. And if you're Carlos Tavares, I mean, I think he's 66 years old. His compensation last year was $39 million.
That's enough.
Yeah. So my guess is, this is just a guess, because I've never met the man, and if I met him, I would ask him this question: Are you planning on working once your contract with Stellantis is up? And my guess is he's got more than enough money in the bank and in investments that the answer to that question would be not really. Okay, I don't even know if he's planning on working all that hard between now and when the contract ends. He certainly has enough money so that he doesn't have to. but yeah, it's you just have to look at the board and how they allowed all this to happen. Not that they care that Chrysler's been around for years and years and years, and Dodge and Ram and Jeep, but my goodness gracious, we have taken some iconic American brands and turned them into an afterthought for most Americans today, and it's really kind of sad when you think about it.
So I'm going to go ahead and say this, Stellantis, the whole company. If you're listening to this, I know you are. It's the most popular show on TV and radio. That look, if you want someone to run your company into the ground, you can pay me and Ray a third of that. We'll double team it and we'll just take it off the face of the planet. If you need somebody to do that, we'll do that. We'll
make it happen faster for less.
There you go. That's the best sales pitch I've ever heard.
There you have it, folks.
There you have it.